Hi guys, this is Ryan with Mama on Mission. Long time no see. It has been crazy around my house lately. We've had some sick kids and lots of doctor's appointments, and Thanksgiving and all the stuff. Family pictures, a birthday party, you name it, we did it. So um, I have just been gone, and I'm sorry. Um, Hopefully, you're still sticking around and watching. Um, but today it is time to do a what we read in November review. It's a couple days late, I understand, but better late than never, right? And I really debated not filming this one this month because one, you'll see it's really sad what we didn't read this month because of all the things I just listed. But also because if you think I look a little rough, know that I feel worse than I look. Um, I'm personally not sick, but with everyone sick in my family, especially my 10-month-old who is not sleeping at all, except for right now, he sleeps great during the day and will not sleep at night because he's been like true sick and I have not been sleeping. So I look horrendous and I'm sorry, but you know what? We're just going to do this thing. So forgive me if you're like, I've seen all these books before, Ryan, and you look scary. All right, so here's my sad excuse for books we read in November. Um, for me, I'm still working, as far as audiobooks go, I'm still working on Atlas Shrugged. Um, it's a long one, that's all I can say. Um, and I had mentioned last month that I was contemplating maybe quitting it because there was a few, more than a few scenes where I was just like, it's not like totally gross, but it's just beyond my comfort zone a little bit. It's pushing my comfort zone. And then I realized, I'm listening to this. I can fast forward. It has that fancy little fast forward 15 seconds button. And I just push that until it's a different scene and then I am fine. So we're still going with Atlas Shrugged. I'm just going to skip some parts of it. I also listened this month to Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. It became available, the audiobook, on my library's website. So we got that. Um, and I, again, love the Harry Potter books. This one isn't my favorite, but I do believe it is, kind of the crux of the series where it kind of starts turning darker. It's very obvious in the movies that this is kind of like where everything shifts, and the movies from here on out are a little darker, but it's still good. Um, and because I haven't been able to like read a lot, that's I haven't been able to read a lot because we're busy. So I have done quite a bit of listening, both to Atlas Shrugged, Harry Potter, and podcasts, like I shared last month. And the podcast I want to talk about this month is Scholé Sisters. And if you're a homeschool mom, it's a very good possibility that you've heard of this podcast, or at least some of the women who run it. Pam Barnhill being a big one. And Scholé is a Latin word, but it's all about pursuing education, philosophy, and theology at leisure without concern of profit, productivity, or politics. So basically, this is, downtime and I guess self care time, but it's not bubble baths and manicures. It's, learning something, but at leisure, having fun doing it. So a lot of times this tends to be reading because that's the easiest way to learn something. Um, but it can also mean, skills or crafts or, whatever your thing is. For me, crochet is a huge one. So, Scholé Sisters is all about these women, Pam Barnhill and a few others, who talk about different topics. They always start off with what their current scholé is, though. And then they just have a variety of topics relating to scholé, relating to teaching methods, and it's all, but a lot of it is about the mom herself. It's not so much about, schooling the kids. It's more about the mom. And I love this podcast. I have been a fan for quite a while now. And I anxiously await their new episode every week. So check that out if you are a homeschool mom, especially, or just a mom in general who wants to better yourself. And I've also been still listening to some true crime stuff. I don't have a specific podcast this month that I feel like sharing, but it's just kind of my thing. Lately, I've been listening to one about Bo Bergdahl, I think is his name, the guy who went missing in the Middle East from the army and walked off and got captured by the Taliban. And I'm sure you know who I'm talking about. But anyway, just some interviews with him, and it's kind of interesting. As far as nonfiction, sticking to my Wellness Revelation reading. So thumbs up there. I've somehow managed to squeeze that in, and I'll miss it for a few days and have to like catch back up, but I've been getting it done somehow. This, not so much because of the Wellness Revelation. So I had mentioned last month that I was going to start trying to carve in some time in the mornings after I read my Bible to work on my nonfiction. And I've been okay at that until my baby decided he wasn't going to sleep, and we have had days upon days of early morning things we needed to get done. But before that, I was doing really well at that, but I would only get through my Wellness Revelation and not have time for this. I have read a little bit more, as in like one chapter more this month. But I think it's kind of funny that this is the book that I'm struggling to get read, and not because I don't want to, but because I don't have time. And this is all about boundaries and creating boundaries with your time and your resources and your brain. And apparently I really need this book, but not getting done. Don't know why. I'm just going to keep trying. I don't know what else to say about that. Nonfiction. My fiction is also pretty sad. Like I said, it's been a listening month because whatever. I can make all the excuses in the world, but it's just what it is. Still working on Frankenstein. And to be honest, I thought I was going to like this a lot more than what I do. I'm not that far into it, so I really can't say, but I thought I would like kind of be hooked after the first chapter, and I'm not. So we're going to keep trying on this too. I don't like giving out books unless it's for like a good reason, but I don't like giving up on them just because I'm bored, especially on classics. So we're just going to keep trying. I'm just praying for like Christmas break. I'm going to try to, my goal is to get like a lot of our need to do stuff for the month done before December 18th. That's when our Christmas break starts. And I want to do a lot of just like resting. And I don't mean like laying around watching Netflix, but I mean like reading with my kids, doing the fun Christmas stuff, you know, but not like the hurried, crazy Christmas stuff. Get all that out of the way. And I'm hoping to read a lot. I don't know. That's kind of a side note, but I don't know. I don't have an excuse. I don't know. So that is it for me, as sad as that is. But I did do a lot of listening. I did. For our read alouds, we are still working on Trumpet of the Swan because these sicknesses and this lack of time has not just affected me, but my children as well. We are a lot further into it than when I last spoke to you. But my kids are still really liking this. It's getting a little funnier toward the end than it was in the beginning, and it's a sweet story, so we're good with that. And we've also been listening to, like at our meal times, listening to A Little Princess, and it is one of my favorite stories, and it was probably my second favorite movie growing up, my first being Home Alone. But I love the story, and I thought, oh, my boys aren't really going to like that, but they seemed to, like, they asked to listen to it, so I'm guessing they like it enough. And then my son, he has fewer books than usual, not just because we've been busier than usual, but he has been reading a lot of picture books lately, and he's read so many that I didn't bother writing them down, which he's in second grade, so I'm okay with that. Picture books are still fine, and even for adults, they're still fine sometimes. But like he's just gone through and read our library bag, which we get out like 30 to 50 items at a time, and he just, has been really into picture books, and that's okay. But he has read, he finished the I Survived the Joplin Tornado book that I told you about last time, and he really, really liked that. He said it was really good, and I think, the adventure was really good for him. And then he actually picked out, when he was at the library with his dad, he brought home an abridged version of Wizard of Oz, which I'm not huge on the abridged version, but my husband was like, I don't know, he just wanted it. I was like, oh, that's fine. And I thought that he just like kind of liked the cover and recognized it and was like, oh, yeah, I'll get this just because they were in a hurry. Um, and so I didn't really expect him to read it. And I had other options for him, but he said, no, I got this one. I want to get it, or I want to read it. And I was like, okay. And he blew through that thing. Like I said, I'm not huge on abridged versions, and I read the full version to them a couple years ago when they were probably too young for it, but I just felt like reading it. So I read it out loud to them, but he didn't remember a whole lot because he was only 5 at the time. And he loved this. So little did I know. Um, so he really enjoyed that. And then he is at this moment finishing up the second Dinosaur Cove, something about Triceratops. If you remember, he read the first one, which is about a T Rex or something, either last month or the month before. And so I went ahead and saw the second one and got it for him at the library. And it's a real easy read for him, but he seems to really like it. So that is all. I know it's really sad. It's a lot of stuff you've seen before and not much else, aside from a few things. But that's what we read. I hope you will subscribe if you haven't already. Leave a comment below. Let me know what you're reading and what your kids are reading. Always on the lookout for new books. I say that every time, but it's true. Ask my husband. He calls me the bibliophile because every time I go somewhere, I bring home new books, but I never pay full price for them, ever. So I will talk to you next time. Bye.